Vietnam is a country with beautiful scenery and a rich history, but it also has some of the most horrifying and haunted places on Earth. From haunted ghost houses to abandoned prisons, these places are not for the weak of heart. Dare to venture into the dark as we reveal the top 10 most haunted places in Vietnam where the past won't sleep. The abandoned water park Thuy Tien Lake, Hue. The eerie remnants of Thuan Lake abandoned water park are hidden from plain sight deep in the misty forests of Hue. Once a bustling amusement park, it was abruptly abandoned in the mid-2000s, leaving behind broken statues, decaying water slides, and a massive dragon sculpture that looms over the lake like a forgotten guardian. What really makes this place terrifying, though, isn't just its haunting emptiness. Locals and explorers have reported strange things that were left behind. Some people say they have seen shadowy figures standing close to the dragon's mouth, and they hear whispers in the humid air that seem to be invisible forces whispering secrets from the past. One terrifying story describes a tourist who ventured too far into the abandoned structures and suddenly felt an icy hand gripping his wrist, pulling him toward the lake. Panicked, he broke free and ran, only to turn around and see wet footprints appearing on the dry ground. This could be the spirits of forgotten workers, drowned souls, or something much more. A few brave visitors who entered the dragon's decaying body heard heavy footsteps behind them, but when they turned around, they found no one there. One of Vietnam's most haunted locations, sinister Thuan Lake, is where the past refuses to be forgotten. Binh Hungu Cemetery. Tucked away on the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh City is the Binh Hungu Cemetery. Once the city's largest cemetery, this expansive burial ground has long been deserted and covered in darkness. Today, it is a decaying wasteland with broken tombstones, overgrown weeds, and an eerie silence that permeates the air. Locals avoid the area at night, whispering stories about restless spirits wandering the graves. Numerous people report seeing shadowy figures moving between gravestones, their hollow eyes gleaming in the shadows. Some even claim to have heard distant cries and murmurs, as though the deceased were a chilling sound of them whispering their sorrows into the winsome claim she was buried alive, while others think she was a vengeful spirit looking for something or someone she lost in life. One motorbike rider who was passing through the cemetery late at night claimed to have seen her standing in the middle of the road, but she abruptly disappeared into thin air, leaving behind an icy chill that soaked into his bones for anyone who dared to visit. Binh Hungu Cemetery is located in Hoi Minh City, hidden on the outskirts of Ho Chi. More than just an abandoned cemetery, Binh Hungu Cemetery is a gateway to the restless dead and a location where the line separating the world and the afterlife is perilously thin. The Cursed Villa at 300 Kim Ma Hanoi. The ghost house is located in the outskirts of Ho Chi at Binh Hungu Cemetery in Hoi Minh City. At the ghost house of 300, one of Hanoi's busiest streets, Kim Ma Hanoi stands in eerie silence. Kim Ma is deteriorating. This abandoned villa has been the focus of terrifying urban legends for decades. Despite its prime location, no one has ever lived here successfully for long. All attempts have been met with inexplicable misfortunes and tragedies. Rumor has it that the house was once owned by a wealthy family, but tragedy struck when the daughter mysteriously disappeared. Many onlookers claim to have seen a woman in white standing still on the balcony with her long hair covering her face, while others hear faint. Binh Hungu Cemetery is located in the outskirts of Ho Chi Minh City, and her spirit is doomed to wander the halls in search of something or someone. Even though the house has been abandoned for decades, there are whispers and sobs coming from the locked rooms. One taxi driver who was not familiar with the legends pulled up in front of the house to take a quick nap, but he was startled awake by loud knocks on his car window. When he looked up, he saw a pale, expressionless face. Dalat's haunted house. The haunted house is tucked away in the misty hills of Ba Dalat and has a horrifying past that makes even the most courageous tourists and locals shudder. A group of French legionnaires stationed at the pass used the house as their outpost during the BM French colonial era. But their evil deeds turned the place into a scene of unspeakable horrors. According to legend, young women traveling alone were kidnapped, brutally murdered, and their bodies dumped into the nearby forests, leaving their souls unable to rest. Shortly after, eerie screams started to reverberate through the night, and strange shadows appeared close to the house. Located deep within the misty hills of Ba Dalat, the Ba Pren Pass haunted house has a terrifying past. Soldiers who stayed there claim to hear footsteps creeping toward them and to have seen shadows appear close to the house. A watchman hired to guard the abandoned house was discovered running down the mountain one night, trembling in terror. He claimed that something invisible had chased him, whispering in his ear and grabbing at his clothes. Now, years after the agonizing cries of women calling for help, caretakers and bystanders claim to have seen ghostly figures standing near the house, their eyes filled with sorrow and rage. Tan Din Church, standing eerily along the windswept coast of Wan Nam the W. The abandoned church is a hauntingly beautiful ruin swallowed by the endless waves and whispers of the past. Originally a grand place of worship, the church was abandoned because of coastal erosion and rising sea levels, but locals believe that something sinister lingers within its crumbling walls. Visitors frequently report hearing ghostly hymns echoing through the empty corridors at night, even though no one is inside. Shadowy figures are seen wandering among the broken pillars, their faces hidden by mist, and fishermen have reported seeing a mysterious woman in white as she walks along the shore before disappearing into thin air. Even more terrifying are the tales of phantom bells ringing at midnight despite the church's bell tower collapsing long ago. Brave souls who have bravely entered the building describe an overwhelming sense of unease, as if invisible eyes are watching them. Some claim she was a devout follower who drowned close to the church, and now her restless spirit seeks salvation. Even though the abandoned church of Namin is a magnificent sight, those who dare to explore it after dark may find themselves caught between the living and the dead. Some depart with mysterious scratches on their skin, while others hear whispers in an unidentified language, always troubled by the ghosts that won't go. Hỏa Lò Prison, also called the Hanoi Hilton. Visitors frequently describe an overwhelming sense of dread as they enter the Andy Hilton Hanoi, known as the Hanoi Hilton where American PS were held during the Vietnam War. The air is thick with an unshakable presence as if the spirits of tormented souls still linger, and strange noises echo through the empty corridors, with chains rattling faint whispers. Deep within the heart of Hanoi, hidden behind towering walls and rusting iron bars, stands Dao Prison, a place soaked in blood and whispers of the dead. The French built this fortress of suffering in the late 19th century to imprison Vietnamese revolutionaries, and unexpected gusts of cold in enclosed spaces. The most terrifying story is that one security guard claimed to have seen a shadowy figure crouching in a dark cell, but that figure quickly disappeared when he got close. Others claim to have heard muffled cries of pain at night, which are the remains of the horrific tortures that once occurred here. Hỏa Lò Prison is not your typical historical site. It is a cemetery of forgotten souls who are forever trapped within its cursed walls. A woman wearing an old prisoner's uniform has been spotted standing by the guillotine, her hollow eyes filled with silent rage. When approached, she vanishes, leaving behind the lingering smell of blood. The ghost apartments of 727 Tran Hung Dao building, which was once a magnificent apartment complex that towered over Hoi Minh City, is now a chilling relic covered in darkness, originally constructed as an opulent skyscraper during the Vietnam War. Whispers of the past was later used as housing for American soldiers. However, as the conflict continued, many of these soldiers met violent and tragic ends, and their spirits are said to be forever imprisoned within the building's walls. Even after the war ended, residents reported unsettling experiences, including objects moving on their own, strange knocking noises in the dead of night, and disembodied voices echoing through empty hallways. Some even claim to have seen shadowy figures standing there according to urban myths, for female workers were inadvertently sealed within the building's foundation during construction, and their restless spirits are said to roam the structure seeking retribution on those who disturbed their eternal sleep. In the years prior to its demolition, the building had become a haunted attraction where thrill seekers dared to enter, but fled in terror upon hearing unexplained footsteps. This is one of the most terrifying legends about the appearance of 4 ghostly women dressed in traditional Vietnamese aai on the upper floors at night. Unsettling whispers and the sensation of invisible hands stroking them some claim that even though the building is no longer there, its ghosts continue to haunt the area where it once stood in an eternal quest for unattainable peace. The abandoned hospital of Da Nang in Vietnam. The hospital was built during the Vietnam War, originally intended to treat wounded soldiers. But as the war raged on, the building became overwhelmed with the dead and dying. Reports of inhumane treatments, surgical experiments, and the screams of those left to suffer paint a horrific picture of what once transpired here. By the time the war ended, the hospital was abandoned, left to decay under the weight of its tragic history. But not everything left with the living. For decades, locals have whispered about the horrors that still lurk inside. Many claim to hear the anguished cries of patients long gone, echoing through the corridors. Others speak of figures standing in the doorways, their faces twisted in agony. Some who have dared to enter say they feel unseen hands grabbing at their clothing, cold breath on the back of their necks. One of the most terrifying reports comes from those who have seen a nurse in a blood-stained uniform wandering the halls. Her face is said to be featureless, a blank canvas of torment. The legend goes that she was a wartime nurse who took her own life after witnessing unbearable atrocities. Now, she roams the hospital, forever trapped in the horrors she once tried to escape. Vietnam is a country rich in history, culture, and breathtaking landscapes. But beneath its beauty lurk chilling legends and eerie encounters. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the stories of these haunted locations continue to send shivers down the spines of those who visit. Would you dare to explore them yourself? Let us know in the comments which haunted place creeped you out the most. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Vietnam's spookiest spots, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a mystery. Until next time, stay curious, and stay safe.